Hello friends and welcome back and welcome to another very exciting tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to learn together how we can create a very interesting and procedural material inside Blender to add a very nice and stylized touch to your scene. So stay tuned and follow me. Now we are in Blender. So this is the first render image. You can see the edges we used. We mixed some nodes to create the edges more visible, like highlighted the edges for each of these. So here is nice, and all of these parts. So let's see, take a look at the next. So this one, and we used a boolean. So this is kind of operation for the modeling. And I want to put the download file project for free in the description. You can download it from my Telegram page. And this is when I used a layer in the compositing. So let's dive into the tutorial. So let's open up a project which there is no material except the lights. You will see this kind of really nice. You can join, or let's press Ctrl and space to see it. So in this case I don't have a good GPU card or graphic card, and therefore it is just really slow. But anyway, let's select one of these and we assign let's teach you everything from scratch. So we open up another panel, we set it to shader editor, and we press N to get rid of these part. Now we can add assign material from material properties or from shader by adding a new. So we can name it to 0.01. And now let's zoom just a little bit, and then we can actually play around with the colors here. As you can see, if I just change the color, it is going to be affecting only that single object. Then we can make it classy if we want. Make it goldish by setting this one to 0 and choose a better color for that. Make it really bright, but we don't want to use the metallic. So we want to use set the roughness to really high in this case, so you can make any kind of things. So we go to transmission and make it such as this one, really beautiful. And this transmission is actually playing if you mix it with the IOR, we want to get really nice result out of that. For example, let's take a look at it, and now we got this kind of effects. So anyway, we don't want to touch things too much in here, so let's turn it off. And then the next one is subsurface scattering. So this one with this one can be mixed and gives you a really good result. So that's about it. So this is actually the basics. So let's set everything to 0 as the default, but we set the roughness to 0.8 or 9. And first of all, we need to add something to the surface. So let's grab one of these surface and assign the same color. So we can select it, select this one, and then select this one which has the material, then press Ctrl L in the viewport and link material. Now if I just go to render mode, we will see that it is assigned. We can do the same thing with this one. and boom, it got the same material. So what can we do with these with this one? So let's focus on one of these, and we can move it just a bit closer. So first of all, I want to focus on the normal. So for the normal, you can press Shift A. So Shift A for adding the nodes, or Shift A here, we can add the objects. So it will work for both of those. Then we can go and add a war node. So in the texture, we have a lot of other texture. You can play around with each of these, and the setting is the same. So if you don't have node wrangler, you can go to Edit Preferences and just search for node wrangler and enable it. It is really helpful and time consuming. Then we can connect this one to the normal, but since we can't actually do it, we have to assign a bump, connect this one to height, and set it to 0.3. And now we connect these to vector, object to vector, not those other. So let's set the scale of the war node texture to 30, or we can set it to less than that. And then the actually details per here is important. For example, let's play around with this one, 0.6. And then the details, let's set it to 0.3. We can press Ctrl Shift and left click to see a preview of these, to see what exactly we are doing. And let's set this one to 0.2, since we want to see more effects out of that. And then let's play around with this one. You can see how if I just set it to all the way 0, we will see this kind of result. So let's leave it to 0.3, to 3 or so. Now let's Ctrl Shift and left click to see a preview of here. Can zoom a little bit. So another thing, you can see that everything is really crazy. So we can control that by a color ramp, and we unplug it between the war node and map and bump. Then play around with these parts. So the black is showing you how deep you want your cracks or these effects will be. So we don't want to see too dips, so therefore we play around with this one until we see just a subtle effect out of that. And that's it. Now if I just reset it to white, we should see better effects out of that. Let's just play around with this one. For example, let's set it to 0.5 and this one to 3. I set it, and now we just actually play around with these. Just make it so roughness is very, very important. You can see how it will affect things. So we want a subtle effect out of that, not too much, about 0.5 or 6 or so. And this one, let's play around with it. You can see how it will affect actually. And now that's a lot better, a lot better. You will see the holes, only these roughness, how it will affect our objects. So let's press Ctrl S, and now we want to assign these to all rest of our objects. So let's select it, Ctrl L and link material. Then we go to render mode, and we will see that that material is applied to all other parts. Okay, so that's about it. Now, if I just change it to any kind of color, you will see that it will affect. So let's grab these two, and now we see the full effect. think I selected even this wall. So the wall, we don't like to select it. So the wall, let's clear it out. So that we'll leave it as it is. And instead we can assign a simple material for this background with a high roughness. Okay, that's fine. So now about the rest, how we can make actually really nice material out of this. So with this one we can press assign something so that for the edges it is something that can make our job a lot cooler. So for the edges, actually we want to move these parts down first. Then we need these couple of nodes. So bevel, geometry, and a vector mass. Then mixed with a map branch. Oh, before that we need to add a color ramp. So let's grab it, and then we want another color ramp to control it. So now, first of all, let's set it to dot product and connect this one to the vector and normal to vector, value to vector, and this one to value. The same thing, and color to color. So if I just hold on Ctrl Shift and left click, you will see something interesting around the edges. We can control it by setting a negative value, 0.1, to make it stronger. Or we can, for example, set it to 0.9 to see more effect out of that, which is a lot nicer. Okay. With this one, we can actually control the color of that. So this one is representing for the edges, and this one, I mean, one of these should be for the edges. So let's give that a try. So this one is for edges, and this one is for the material itself. So we will see it here. Yeah, you can see this red color is for the material, and this one is for what we call for edges. Okay, so from here we can actually start to assign any kind of color we like. Now it is just the basic setup for each of these. Then we can go to transmission and assign the transmission to each of these, or instead of that we can actually assign the surface and just a little bit of transmission we want to see, because if it's 100, so we will see this kind of nice effect. So let's leave it about 0.3 or so, and now we can actually move closer to see. So with that said, now we can actually colorize. For example, we can select the floor, and we want to change it to something else. So let's click here, because right now 22 object is using the same material. But another thing is that I like to set it to 0.1 because of the effect of the bumps is too high. So let's set it to 0.1. And the rest should be good. So I'm not going to touch the rest. So let's click here and rename it to 0.2. And now we only need to change the color up here. So this one, the first one is for the edges, and this one is for these actually entire object. So we can change these to just a bit darker, and then select this one and leave it as it is. So let's move this one just a bit darker. And boom. Then we need to select this one and this one, Control L, link material. Now these has gone the same. And I like to change this one to 0.3, 0, or material number 3. Then let's grab this reddish color and convert it to a brownish. Let's give it a really nice brownish color. And do the same thing with here. Okay, that's fine. Now we select this one and this one, Control L, link material. So make sure to select at the last this object which has the material. And now if I just change the color, you can see that it will affect for both of those because they are sharing the same material. So now the next thing is this parts right here, and let's select one of those. We name it to 0.4, and now we select the rest, deselect the rest, and select this one at the last. Control L, link material. Now if I just change the color for one of these, you can set it to a nice color. I like to turn off the subsurface for both of these to only see effect out of here. So let's make it just a bit brighter, and I like to make it orangish color. Something like that. And I like to select these two, Control L, link material, so that we can see the background just a bit better. Now let's grab this one and change its color to a purplish color. Oh, let's click here to assign it 0.4, I believe. Oh, we had 0.4, 0.5. Just change this one to something like this. You can zoom just a bit closer to see how it affecting. We still have the subsurface here and the transmission. If I just remove it, you can see then we can even add the sheen around it. You can see the sheen. If I set it to 1 and the roughness to really low, we just want to see it around the edges, but in this case I turn it off. So I just continue doing this because you already know the basic of this. Then once I'm done, I will come back. Another really fast method that I found is that instead of this outliner, I put it to image editor and I just drag and drop one of these pre-made, rendered images here. Then I select one of these, then I use this eyedropper and just choose the color I like. Of course, you need to play around with this color just a little bit in case you need, but you are going to achieve a really fast result out of it. Such as this one. You can play around with this to get it right. For example, this one. You can grab this nice color And then we need to just play around with the value to make the same color as we had. And let's grab it with the same method, but just a bit brighter. Just a little bit, not too much, so that we can see the edges. And then we just keep continuing. For example, this color is cool, but if you like, we can change it to something else. For example, let's move this one to this kind of color. So both of these is sharing the same material. So let's click here and now change it. And the same thing here, make it just a bit brighter. And the text, we can actually select it, then select this one, Ctrl L, and choose the same material. So I'm not happy with this one, so I like to play around with it just a bit more. Let's take a look. Just a little bit up. And that's about it. So now we can actually play around with this if we want. Make it just a bit darker like so, to see the edges a little bit better. So it is good, we are not going to touch it. So let's grab here. Change the place of these. Let's press Ctrl Z. I think let's clear this out, and then we want to change it to something else. So let's click here, and we can give that the same color as this one, and it is finished. So now really quick, I want to add a logo which I have here. So in order you want to apply a logo, it is really simple. The easiest method is to actually duplicate this face and move it somewhere out and press P to separate it. This is the easiest method. Then make sure to create a new material and then remove this part and this part as well. And then just import your logo. In this case, I imported my logo and color to base color. So now I just select it, press 3 U and Q projection. It is finished. Go to render mode, and now we can play around with the roughness and all of these cool stuff. In case if you want to grab the same color, you can do it. For example, select this one and select the same thing. Just a bit darker. And now you're finished. So you can see that this one is black. We can leave it as it is, but we can change the color if we want to this nice color. Well, let's change it to this kind of color. Okay, that's very good now. So this is end of this tutorial. We can press number 5, press 0 to look at through the camera, and this is the result that we got. Then for the render setting, you already know I have published some video courses on Udemy page. The link is in the description. You can change, but if you go and purchase the courses via those link or from those link that I put, so in this case you are helping me and this channel, because Udemy takes a huge percentage of the sales. So I'm thinking about creating my own website. It is not finished yet, but when it's done, so I will inform you. Thank you very much, and see you in the future videos or tutorials.